What's going on, y'all? I just want to hit you guys with a real quick word of encouragement. Like my pastor said this morning, if you still got bread, you still got purpose. And just thinking on that, I know a lot of times you might feel like we're at the end of our ropes, we're at the end of the road, we're at the end of our journey, actually, like sometimes it feels we get to the point of where we just feel like giving up. But I just want to encourage y'all, don't give up, because God's still working. God's still moving, and God's still doing big things in and throughout your life. He makes all things work together. If it's not good yet, God's not done yet. Come on now, y'all. You got bread. You got purpose. And I just want to encourage somebody out there today, I think about all these different biblical figures, who sat there in the midst of Joseph in the well. I think about Job when he was at his lowest point. I think about all these different people, all these people who are unqualified, all these people who couldn't, all these people who in and of themselves, they could never do these type of things. But God showed up. I think about the way that God shows up in the midst of our unqualifications, that the fact that we're unqualified in and of ourselves qualifies us to be used by God. The fact that Moses had a speech impediment and he could not speak, but yet he led the Israelites out of Egypt. I think about how Thomas was a doubter in and of himself, but yet he walked with Jesus. I think about how Peter denied Jesus, but yet Jesus called him unto himself. I think about the different ways that these people in the Bible, how they sat there and they were so unqualified in all the things that they did and who they were. But yet, God qualified them. Yet God used them. Yet God moved through them. Yet God moved in and throughout their lives out here. Come on now, somebody. God is moving in this place. I was just talking to somebody about it last week. Talking about how God is here, and I thank God for everything that's happening. I thank God for everything that's happening. When I walk outside, the reality of it is, God is moving. I was talking to somebody about it last week, and I said, I thank God for it, because I truly believe that God is going to show up in the midst of all things that are happening. I truly believe that God is going to show up in the midst of the coronavirus. And God is going to show up in the midst of the race wars happening out there. And I truly believe that God is going to show up. And He's not just going to show up, but He's going to show out. And people are going to say, who else but God? Who else but God could have delivered us? Who else but God could have showed up? Who else but God could have came through and made a way where there was no way? He is a way maker. Come on, somebody. He is the I am. That when we don't know what to do, He is the I am. That's why He says this to Moses. When Moses is sitting there, what do I call you? I am. I am your peace. I am your salvation. I am this and I am that. And today, He is so close to us. I can feel His presence right here in this back room of service. Come on now, y'all. God is moving. I thank God today that He's still working things out. Now, I know for some of y'all, it's been getting real out here, financial struggles with all these different things that are happening out here, but God is working. God is moving. That here in the midst of all these different things, God is so good and He's so present. That God is just so here. That I honestly couldn't picture a better time for revival than here and now. That the Lord is going to begin to move in a supernatural way. I truly believe this for some of y'all today. That it's going to be revival happening. That it's going to be Holy Spirit fire in this place. I truly believe that it's going to be kingdom come and it's going to be will be done. That in heaven there is no sickness, so on earth there would be no sickness. In heaven there is no division, so here on earth there would be no division. That it would be unity, it would be healing, that it would be supernatural move of God. That I sit there and I think about it, and I think about how Jesus says to His disciples, He says to them, they would know you by the way that you love one another. They would know you by the way that you love your neighbor. And I think about it, and I truly believe that this is a supernatural prophetic declaration that He declares over them. He says they will know that you are mine by the way that you love one another. That yes, it's good to have supernatural healings. Yes, it's good to have tongues being spoken, but I truly believe that the way that we love one another would be supernatural. That the way that you love your neighbor would be a supernatural love that only comes from God. That it doesn't matter that I don't agree with you, but because I love you. Because I love you. Because you're made in my Father's image. Because you're made in His likeness and in His goodness. I truly believe that when we look at one another, what we would see would not be someone who is white, someone who is black, someone who is rich, or someone who is poor, but we would see the image of a supernatural God, of a righteous God, of a loving God. That we would look at one another and we would see the Holy Spirit living in us. We would see the fruits of the Holy Spirit out here. I truly believe here today that here and now is a time and place for revival. I believe that here in this place, God's going to begin to move. I believe that here in the Bay, here in Cali, here in the United States, and here in the world, I believe that revival is coming. I believe that here in this place, God is going to begin to move. Thank you guys so much for listening. Y'all have a good one. Stay blessed.